Good morning, boys and girls. Today's April 20th, and our math lesson today is Chapter 8, Lesson 5, describing length, height, and weight, comparing length, height, and weight. But first of all, we're going to start off with a little bit of practice, okay? Let's keep those skills current. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to look for the missing number. We have 3 sets of missing numbers here. So we have 13 blank 15. What number comes after 13 but before 15? After 13, before 15, or in between 13 and 15? Let you think about that for a second. Okay, you're right. It is the number 14. Now let's do another one just like that. 17 blank 19. What number comes after 17 and before 19? You're right. That is the number 18. Good work. The last one is blank 12 and 13. What number comes before the numbers 12 and 13 in this progression? Think about that for a moment. You are right. It is the number 11. Good. Okay, last week I introduced you to something called a part-part total diagram, and that's what this is, part-part total. And you see in my parts I have 3 triangles, 3 circles. If I were to move those all up into the top here, what would I have? So let's do a little quick drawing. I have triangle, 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 circle, circle, circle. And that's where subitizing comes in. I can recognize just looking at that, that's 3 triangles, so I don't have to count 1, 2, 3 and then keep going. I know that that's 3, so I can say 3, 4, 5, 6. And then my number sentence is 3 and 3 more. That's where we get those numbers from here. And then my total is 6. Part total, add in plus add in equals sum. 3 plus 3 is 6. Good job. Very good job. Okay, let's go ahead and do a little more subitizing before we start. And I am going to, okay, here we go. Are we ready? I'll put the cards up here. Let's take a look. Ready? Here we go. Good work. Did you get them all in the time that I gave you? I hope so. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at today's work. Here is our, let's see, let's go ahead and do this. Let's turn this around. There we go. Here's our work for today. And we are to use, remember, this is the math, this is the practice math. This is the math of my world. This is where you take the time to use manipulatives of any kind and to practice your skill before we take it to the paper, okay? So today, it's going to tell you to choose 2 real-world objects, draw them, describe the length of each object, circle the object that is longer, describe the weight of each object, and draw an X on the object that weighs more. All right, so I have 2 objects to start off with. I have a little garden gnome here, and I have a smelly marker. And those of you who've been in my class, you know I use smelly marker a lot. This one is not lemon, though. It's buttered popcorn. I bet that smells pretty cool. All right, so here we go. So let's do the first observation or comparison, and let's compare their length. Okay, so I'm going to put them in my hand here. Do you see? Yes, that the marker is longer than the gnome. So the marker is going to get what? A circle. That's right. So now I'm going to compare their weights. I'm just going to hold them in my hand. I could use the balance scale that I had the other day, but I think I can tell just by holding them in my hand which one's heavier. And that would be the garden gnome. He's heavier. And if you guessed that, good job. And that he would get an X. So then I would practice a little bit more. Let's try this. Let's try a little toy, connector toy, and a glue stick. Okay, so let's compare their height, and you can see, or their length, you can see that the glue stick is longer or taller than the toy. So then I would put them both in my hand and kind of gauge their weight. And this one's also heavier. So not only would it get the circle, but it would also get the X. So I might want to draw those two on my page. I've done a couple more. I would do a couple more and then draw those two on my page and then do that activity, do the marking that it asks you to do. So then on the next page is our guided practice. And you can see we're comparing the two. So it's saying that the pen or the pencil is longer than the chalk, but the chalk weighs more. So you would mark it that way. You would take you would trace over, because you know that's longer. This one's heavier. Now they're comparing scissors and an eraser, a pencil sharpener, and it looks as though, and they're telling us if they were able to, you were to hold, that this one is longer and it's also heavier than the pencil sharpener. Now, these are items that you could probably even have at your home, but take a look at these. Which one would you do? Which one is longer? The plastic wrap is longer. Which one do you think is going to be heavier? The tissue box or the plastic wrap? That's a good question. I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave you to find that out. You think about that. Now look at these two containers. Here's a container that would hold cookies and things, and here's a small little plastic container that would hold maybe salad dressing or some type of dip or something. So which one's longer? Yep, this one's longer. And which one do you think would be heavier? You're right. Good job. Okay, so there's our practice pages. Now you're going to continue on with the same thing. You're going to look at the objects and describe the height, circle the object that's taller, and describe the weight of each object and draw an X on the object that weighs more. Now, parents, this is one of the sheets that you're to turn in. You do not need to take a picture of this one, although you can if you want of these, but really what we'd like to see is just this one. And then on the back is a brain builder, and it says number 9, look at the box of bandages, describe the objects in the row, circle the object that is longer and weighs more than the box of bandages. Oh, so you have to look at this. This is what you're comparing, these two objects to this one. If it's longer than the bandages, then you would circle it. So you're circling one object, one that is longer and taller, or longer and weighs more. And then the bowl, the same thing. Take a look at the bowl. Describe the objects in the row. Circle the object that is taller and weighs more than the bowl. Okay? And then you can think of other things. What do you think would weigh more than a bowl? What do you think would be taller than a bowl? And the same thing with the bandages. What kind of box or item do you think would be taller than a bowl or than the bandages, or weighs more than the bandages? Okay, so these are the 2 pages to turn in. If you'll turn in the brain builder and independent practice, that would be great. Thank you. Bye-bye.